say a couple of practical things about mission work that, I think you can be motivated to do all types of things, and you have to have the desire first. But from a practical standpoint, things that you need to know about immunizations. You need to get your immunizations ahead of time, and that usually starts at least 3 to 6 months out. You have to have the time schedule, and coming up it'll be for you in your residency, in your internship. It's hard to do later on once you start to have children or families. You'll find a lot of times people don't want to do that. You need to understand that the different places that you go, sometimes there's a strong religious affiliation with the missions themselves. I had a list of 100 places that I wanted to go to when I was at St. V's, and I could only look at 20 of those because they weren't interested in this idea of someone else of a different faith coming in. It's kind of interesting. I was watching Quincy Jones the other day, and he said, one world. Not everybody believes that. Not everybody really believes that. So you need to understand that. Passports you have to have, obviously, but you also have to have sometimes an entrance ticket. You have to have a visa. And you'll pay for that visa ahead of time. And once you get to the airport, you'll find that you actually need another visa, $100 that came from nowhere on any form. They wanted that. I wouldn't have been able to go into Nairobi without it. And it's funny how even though English is spoken there, all of a sudden they're not speaking English when they start talking about $100. All you hear is $100, and you say, "Well, why?" Well, they don't want to. Dude, you said $100. I heard that. That's a practical thing. Communication once you get there. Nowadays, the best thing to do is to buy a prepaid cell phone within like a big city in that area. Pay for it ahead of time. That way you know how much you're paying. If you use your own credit card or your own calling card, the rate of exchange can be exorbitant sometimes. So get that ahead of time. Have fun while you're there. Schedule a little time to do something different. Yeah. Go on a safari like I did and finally saw my lion the last time I was there. It was serious. Can't even tell you. It's serious. When you hear... here, I'll give you... No, I won't do it. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. That's what you hear. That's what you hear. I kid you not. That is the coolest thing. You're way back someplace, and that line is 100 yards off, and you hear that. So they talk King of the Beast is serious. But the woman is still in the back doing all the real work. The guy's he's just fronting. Now and so that's practical. But also practical is the reason why you're there, and I want to go back to that again. And that is, when you look at that film that was shown earlier, it's so easy. It's so easy to get accustomed to seeing these types of pictures and the words. I had tears looking at that one earlier with that child there, because I'll never forget that expression of those kids that were there, not just when we were handing out medicines, but when we were handing out food. And they're right there in front of you. Right there in front of you. And they're just looking for beans, flour, rice. Those are the three things that we brought in those big, like feed the children type of presentations you see all the time. And you have to question. Some of these organizations are not real. I'm not saying that one isn't. I contribute to that one, actually. But there are those out there that will take advantage of people's kind hearts. And we were sitting right there handing out, just taking a scoopful of any of those staples. And what would happen, they would have the children go up and the women would come up, and they would just take their dresses and just pull them up, and just have you put it right there. And then they'd walk away. Or they take like those bags that you get that you recycle when you take it, those plastic bags. They tie them together so that the holes wouldn't be there. Whatever they could get, they would take. So you got to remember that we're blessed to be here, but it's only a blessing if you give it to somebody else. So find the opportunity. Take the week. I had an opportunity to stay for 3 months, but in my internship I was like, not today. But I wish that I had now, because it's hard for me to do that now. It's hard for me to, not that I wouldn't do it, it's just that the people I work with wouldn't, look at me favorably if I say I'm going to be gone for 3 months. Yes, you will. For longer than that. So you around for a lot longer than that. So, I mean, but it really is worth it. Yeah, you know, Chris said it earlier. That thank you is payment enough. I'll never forget the expression. Anytime that anyone's ever said thank you on those trips, you never ever forget it.
So I had a question about the women. You said that one lady in the picture was depressed. Her husband was doing. I know a little bit about that, and I wanted to know, with the education that you're promoting and that you're spreading, how much opposition do you get from the males, especially when it comes to HIV and AIDS and educating the people and the women about how to protect themselves?